I think that a lot of people hate the price increase in recent AAA games. We've been used to paying $60 for any new game that came out in the past decade. The new standard for AAA games nowadays is $70. Me personally, if the game is worth $70, then it's worth $70. Games like Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Persona 3 Reload marked at $70 at launch. I feel like the price for both of them were justified. It took me about 80 hours to beat Persona 3, and I loved all 80 hours of it. And I might do a New Game Plus run of it soon to 100% the game. Tears of the Kingdom was an amazing game. Not only was it a return to Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, but it would introduce so many new mechanics, enemies, areas that it felt like a proper and ambitious sequel. They were complete games. But then we have games like Forspoken, Diablo 4, Starfield, and Suicide Squad. Even if you yourself loved any of these games, the majority of the people did not see the worth of these games as being $70. This is $70 we're talking about. That's a lot. It better be worth $70. I played Diablo 4 at launch and dropped it after I had like 15 hours or so on it. I had more fun with Diablo Immortal, a free mobile game, than I did with Diablo 4. And Starfield. Yeah, we just don't talk about that game. I think the reason people hate the price increase is the fact that these games are just not fun or just unplayable at launch. There are games that are released and just badly optimized at launch, especially on PC. Games like Jedi Survivor and Dragon's Dogma 2 just play terribly for the majority of the players. Unless you come from the future with like a PS6 Pro or a Starforge X NASA PC collaboration, you are not reaching 60 frames per second on a $70 game. That's just not acceptable. Okay, so we have a random $70 game. It's not fun. It's poorly optimized. Let's just say it also has microtransactions for whatever reason. Surely, it doesn't get any worse than this, right? Like, for a single player game, it can't get any worse than being a boring, broken, heavily monetized mess, right? Of course it can get worse. What are we talking about? We can force people to pre-order the deluxe edition. I think if you're watching this video, I want to assume that we all are more hesitant and more cautious in pre-ordering games nowadays, because we probably felt scammed before. I'm going to use Star Wars Outlaws as an example. I have no idea if the game is good or not, because none of the gameplay footage has been shown, and ultimately the game isn't even out yet. But let's just assume the gameplay is good. I watched the trailer, I'm all hype. I think, wow, I want to pre-order this game. Let's go on the website. Oh wow, which edition do I buy? The $70 base game? The $110 deluxe edition? Or the $130 Ultimate Edition? Which is basically just the base game times 2. What do you even get in these editions? Let's look. In the Gold Deluxe Edition, we got the base game, cosmetic for your ship and speeder, useless, whatever, and a season pass with a mission available at launch. What? This couldn't be in the base game? Anything in the base game should be all content available at launch, and this is a $70 game we're talking about. There are some people that get heated over a day one patch. How is something like a day one DLC not getting hate? On top of that, I don't even know what's included in this DLC. It just states Jabba's Gambit mission. A mission? What even is a mission in Star Wars Outlaws? Is it like a quick fetch quest? Is it like a new zone? Or is it just a whole big operation? Why are we gating a mission at launch, locking it in a season pass, for a season pass we know nothing about? For a game we just don't even know how it even plays. The first game that comes into mind is Borderlands 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, that game had a season pass, but didn't lock anything like day one of launch. We knew what was in the season pass, and even if we didn't, we could look at Borderlands 2 and see the model that they did there. The quality and expectations were there, so we knew what we were getting into. I feel a lot safer in pre-ordering a deluxe edition when I know what content is included. But with Star Wars Outlaws, I don't even know like how fast-paced the combat is, how complex its social system is, or even if it even has a social system in the first place. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that being a new IP, Star Wars Outlaws needs to justify its price point and price options. No one would care if GTA 6 is $100 at launch, because GTA is an established IP and people like just know what to expect out of it. Tears of the Kingdom was a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, so people knew what to expect and knew what they were getting into and get their like money's worth. But when we have new IP such as like Forspoken, you need to show and present why it's worth $70. So far, I've literally seen nothing about Outlaws gameplay. All I really know is like the planets you'll be in and some characters that'll be in it. But other than that, I don't really know what the game is about. So before we can even introduce DLC content, we need to first show what the base game is even about. Oh, I'm still not even done with stating what's in the deluxe edition. Alright, so you get the base game, the cosmetics, season pass, but you also get a 3 days early access. Dude. The game is finished. Just release the game then. This is for people who love Star Wars or Ubisoft, maybe both, and will meat ride the game to its demise. These meat riders will pay the game the extra $40 and will praise how great the game is. Only the people who will love it will buy it. Therefore, all the reviews and comments will all be positive on all platforms, whether it's from journalists like sites like IGN or Game Informer, or just from your average meat riders. The initial reviews are positive. Then your general audience buys the game after assuming it's the best game ever, then I think you know where I'm going with this. By then, the damage has been done, and the money has been collected from the meat riders and the general audience. But what's the solution for this? No idea. There's a lot of speculation about like where the problem is that a normie like me just does not know. It could be the journalist's fault for not reviewing the game properly. It could be the publisher's fault. It could be the executive's fault for making a bad game. It could even be all of it. But this 3-day early access needs to stop. It's very unhealthy and it ultimately just feels like a scam. So that's everything in the deluxe edition. Let's look at the ultimate edition. Base game, season pass, cosmetics, 3-day early access, 2 more cosmetic bundles, and a digital art book for $130. Twice the price of the base game. Honestly, this is more like a donation than an actual investment into your personal entertainment. Most Ultimate Editions are like this anyways. There should be something else like a pin or like some sort of collectible, but maybe that's more of like a pre-order bonus thing, but $130 is crazy. Alright, let's look at the next one. Okay, a subscription plan. Okay then. Can I handle another subscription? Let's see, I got Spotify, I got Netflix, Crunchyroll, Disney Plus, my phone plan, Uber Eats, my other 3 games with battle passes. Yeah, sure, why not? Ubisoft Plus, let's put that in there. It's the most expensive plan out of these, so like, why not? Ubisoft must have an amazing catalog of games, just like how Crunchyroll and Netflix have like amazing catalog of shows. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm good. It just feels very scammy having all these expensive editions and then at the very end showing off the cheapest value, but it's through a subscription. I don't know what they intend to do with that, but I can tell you that they do not have the consumer's best interest in mind. I don't think anyone should be comfortable playing games that publishers could easily revoke your access to at any day's notice, especially with single-player games like Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, look, I don't know if Star Wars Outlaws is going to be a good game or not. We know like almost nothing about the gameplay. But when you market games at a price that you know people are already mad about, you need to justify why it's worth $70 as a new IP. If you've already established an IP that people like, little to no one would complain. If they ever announced Mass Effect 4 being $70, no one would complain. If they announced GTA 6 at $100, almost no one would complain. And that's because we know what the game is about and we know what to expect. Then we get the 3-day early access to farm people of FOMO, fear of missing out. Then we get a season pass and a day 1 DLC mission that we have no idea what it's about, mostly because we don't know like how missions are structured in the base game. It just gives me like a very like scammy and cash grab vibe that really shouldn't happen with a company like Ubisoft and with a franchise like Star Wars. I really hope I'm wrong and Star Wars Outlaws ends up being a banger. But my intuition is saying otherwise. We need more faithful developers like Larian Studios, the creators of Baldur's Gate 3. They treated that game like a work of art. Wonderful game, with no day 1 DLC, no subscription, no scam-like vibes at all. And because of that, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best games maybe of all time, and everyone loves the studio. If I were to present you with the option of giving you a decent game that your friends are playing a lot for only $30, or a terrible and unplayable game for $70, but it's The Simpsons, which one would you buy? Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe to this video if you like this type of content. And if you have any suggestions for any game that you want me to play, you can leave a comment down below or come join the Discord in the link below that I'm also active in. See you guys later.